Good evening. A total of 42 people have been treated in hospital after an explosion and fire at the Hickson chemical plant at Ringaskiddy in County Cork this morning. 13 people, including several firemen, are being detained overnight, most of them suffering from smoke inhalation. 2 of the injured were employees at the factory. Water samples taken from Cork Harbour are being analysed to check if any chemicals were washed into it. Earlier, Cork County Council said that air samples showed no trace of any toxic material.
The fire started at 7:15 this morning and it quickly grew into a blaze. Thick black smoke billowed up across the plant and then high into the air across the harbour. By 9:20 the fire was under control, but abruptly it began again, and this time it took until lunchtime for the smoke to clear. Inside the plant, staff and equipment were moved back, this container taken away from the blaze among others. At one stage there were 14 fire tenders pumping water and foam to control the blaze, and tankers of water had to be driven into the site just before lunchtime. The company in a statement say they were able to isolate a nearby storage area where the bulk of chemicals are held and that these were not in danger from the fire. As yet they haven't revealed exactly what the cause of the fire was. This blaze was eventually brought under control around lunchtime, and now attention has focused on the environmental impact.
Boundary, and that pond filled during the course of the incident this morning. Small overflow from the system, and some material unfortunately did escape into the harbour waters.
But sorry, it wasn't a small discharge, because we saw it with our own eyes. It was a massive discharge into the harbour.
I'd have to come back to you on it. I don't know what the figures are at the moment. Just like to point out
now it was small. I mean, it wasn't small, it was quite large.
I'd have to check the quantities which released. What I do know is that the capacity of the retention system is close to 250,000 gallons, and that much was held on the site.
Would it have been toxic, the overflow?
It would have contained solvents and chemicals. Toxic is a relative
Small
phrase.
trace of chemicals. Local environmental groups remain to be convinced.
This is described as water, but it's actually runoff from the tanks that was pumped down the IDA sewer last night, as supervised by the Cork County Council. Obviously this is a crisis, and that represents both a danger and an opportunity for the government to firmly tackle the problem of the toxic chemical industry.
Environmental groups and public representatives have issued statements demanding full disclosure of the facts. Tonight, Cork County Council and the company themselves say there will be a full inquiry.
Among those expressing concern at today's blast were the environmental groups Earthwatch and Greenpeace, which call for full disclosure of what chemicals were released. Greenpeace says Hickson's parent company was fined £250,000 in Britain last week. It admitted safety breaches after a blast killed 5 workers at its plant in Yorkshire last September. Fine Gael Oil called for all necessary resources to be made available to the emergency services in Cork. And the Green Party has questioned the government policy of promoting the chemical industry in the area.